Let me tell you something. Comfort is a silent thief. It sneaks in, makes you feel good for a moment, and before you know it, years have passed and you're still in the same place. It doesn't happen all at once. It happens in small, easy choices. I'll start tomorrow. I'll do it later. I'm fine where I am. Those little phrases sound harmless, but they are dream killers in disguise. Comfort is one of the most deceptive things in life. It feels good, it feels safe, and it gives you a false sense of security. But make no mistake, comfort is a silent killer. It doesn't shout, it doesn't warn you, and it doesn't force you to stop. It simply lulls you into a state of complacency where nothing changes and time quietly slips away. Most people don't fail because they lack ability. They don't fail because they don't have opportunities. They fail because they stop pushing. They reach a point where things are good enough and decide to settle. Maybe they've got a steady job, a decent paycheck, a comfortable routine. It's not what they once dreamed of, but it's not bad either. And because it's not bad, they don't feel the urgency to make it better. That's the danger of comfort. It doesn't demand anything from you. It doesn't push you to grow. It makes you feel like you've already arrived, when in reality, you've only stopped moving. And the moment you stop moving, you start declining. Look at nature. Everything is either growing or dying. Trees don't just stay the same. They either grow taller, develop deeper roots, and spread their branches, or they start decaying. The same law applies to people. If you're not actively growing, learning, and improving, then whether you realize it or not, you're slowly declining. Think about the times in your life when you've grown the most. Was it when everything was easy? Was it when you were sitting comfortably doing the same thing over and over? No. It was when you were challenged, when you were forced to step up, when you were pushed beyond what you thought you could handle. Growth is always uncomfortable. It requires effort, it requires change, and it requires stepping into the unknown. But comfort asks nothing of you. It lets you relax, settle in, and stop stretching yourself. And before you know it, months go by, then years, and you find yourself in the exact same place, wondering why nothing has changed. The problem is, most people don't recognize comfort as a threat. They only see danger and failure, in taking risks, in stepping outside their routine. But here's the real danger. The comfort zone isn't just where growth stops. It's where dreams die. You see it all the time. People who once had big ambitions, big goals, big dreams, and over time, they slowly let them go. Not because they weren't capable, not because they didn't have opportunities, but because they got comfortable. They settled into a routine that was good enough and convinced themselves that pushing for more wasn't necessary. And here's what's even more dangerous. Comfort doesn't just kill ambition, it also makes people afraid of change. The longer you stay comfortable, the harder it becomes to break free. You start avoiding anything that challenges you because it feels unfamiliar. You start resisting growth because growth means discomfort, and discomfort is now something you fear. This is why so many people wake up years later feeling stuck, feeling lost, feeling unfulfilled. They look back and wonder where the time went, They wonder why they didn't take action sooner. But the truth is, it wasn't one big decision that led them there. It was a series of small, comfortable choices. Every time you choose comfort over challenge, you reinforce a habit. You train yourself to settle. You teach yourself that ease is more important than growth. And the more you do this, the harder it becomes to break free. Comfort isn't just a momentary choice, it's a lifestyle. And once you build a lifestyle around comfort, breaking out of it feels... Success isn't about what's easy, it's about what's necessary. And what's necessary? Discipline. The ability to do what needs to be done even when you don't feel like doing it. Because let's be honest, if success was about doing what's easy, everyone would have it. Everyone would be in great shape, everyone would be financially independent, everyone would be living their dreams. But they're not. Why? Because comfort is easier than discipline. Comfort says, take the day off. Discipline says, stay consistent. Comfort says you've worked hard enough. Discipline says you can do more. Comfort says you deserve a break. Discipline says you deserve better. And this is where most people lose the battle. Not because they aren't capable, not because they don't have opportunities, but because they choose comfort when they should be choosing discipline. They wake up and hit snooze instead of getting up early. They skip the gym because it's easier to stay in bed. They put off that project, that business idea, that next step, because starting is uncomfortable. And every time they make that choice, they reinforce the habit of settling. Now here's the thing. Discipline is hard. It demands something from you. It doesn't care how you feel. It doesn't wait for motivation to show up. It requires effort, sacrifice, and pushing through discomfort. But here's what most people don't realize. Discipline, once mastered, becomes easier than comfort. At first, comfort feels good and discipline feels like a struggle. Waking up early is hard. Sticking to a schedule is hard. Saying no to distractions is hard. But over time, discipline creates results. And those results create momentum. And that momentum makes the process easier. On the other hand, comfort works the opposite way. At first, it feels nice. Sleeping in feels good. Skipping the workout feels like relief. Procrastinating feels like freedom. But over time, comfort creates regret. And that regret creates frustration. And that frustration makes life harder. You ever notice how the people who always take the easy way out seem to struggle the most? The ones who avoid discipline are the same ones. Constantly stressed, constantly unhappy, constantly stuck. Because the truth is, avoiding discipline doesn't make life easier. It makes it harder in the long run. The person who refuses to work hard when they're young ends up struggling financially when they're older. The person who avoids exercise because it's uncomfortable ends up dealing with health problems later. The person who never pushes themselves to grow finds themselves stuck in the same place year after year. And this is the simple truth most people don't want to accept. You can either suffer the pain of discipline now, or suffer the pain of regret later. But one way or another, there's a price to pay. The difference is the pain of discipline is temporary. It's a few hours of effort, a few years of sacrifice. But the pain of regret, that lasts a lifetime. That's the pain of looking back and realizing you wasted your potential. That's the pain of knowing you had the ability to do more, to be more, but you chose comfort instead. But here's the good news. Discipline isn't something you're born with. It's something you build. It's a muscle, and just like any muscle, the more you use it, the stronger it gets. The first time you wake up early when you don't feel like it, it's hard. The first time you push yourself to stay consistent when motivation is gone, it's hard. But over time, discipline becomes second nature. It becomes part of who you are. The key is understanding that discipline isn't about feelings. It's about choices. You don't have to feel motivated. You don't have to feel ready. You just have to do it. Because the moment you let feelings dictate your actions, you're at the mercy of comfort. And comfort will always pull you away from your potential. Growth doesn't happen by doing the same things over and over. It happens when you push yourself beyond what feels familiar, beyond what feels easy, and into the unknown. The problem is, most people never reach their full potential because they're too attached to their comfort zone. They want to grow, they want to achieve more, but they're unwilling to go through the discomfort that comes with it. Think about it. Why do so many people stay in jobs they hate? Why do so many settle for mediocrity? Why do they talk about their dreams but never take action? It's not because they don't want more. It's because stepping outside their comfort zone feels scary. It feels uncertain. It feels like risk. And because it feels uncomfortable, they assume it's better. But here's the truth. If you're not uncomfortable, you're not growing. Every time you challenge yourself, every time you try something new, every time you push past your limits, you expand what's possible for you. The skills you once thought were impossible become second nature. The things you once feared become part of your normal routine. But none of that happens if you refuse to step outside of what feels safe. Look at anyone who has achieved greatness in any field. Athletes don't improve by staying at the same level of training. They push harder, they lift heavier, they endure more. Entrepreneurs don't succeed by doing what's easy. They take risks. They step into uncertainty. They learn from failure. The same principle applies to everything in life. Progress is always just outside of where you feel comfortable. The challenge is discomfort doesn't feel good in the moment. It feels frustrating. It feels like resistance. It makes you question whether you should even be doing it. That's why most people give up too soon. They mistake discomfort for a sign that they're doing something wrong, when in reality, it's a sign they're on the right track. Think back to the first time you tried anything new, whether it was learning a skill, starting a job, or even something as simple as public speaking. At first, it felt awkward. Maybe it was overwhelming. Maybe you doubted yourself. But the more you did it, the more natural it became. And eventually, what once felt uncomfortable became something you could do with confidence. That's how growth works. It's a process of stretching yourself beyond what feels normal. But here's where most people get stuck. They wait until they feel ready before they take action. They tell themselves, I'll start when I have more experience. I'll take the next step when I feel more confident. I'll go after my goals when the timing is right. But that moment never comes, because confidence doesn't come before action, it comes after. I'm not sure. Growth isn't something that happens to you. It's something you choose. It's a daily decision to lean into discomfort instead of running from it. And every time you choose to step up. Every time you challenge yourself, you expand what's possible for you. But here's the danger. If you're not growing, you're shrinking. Comfort has a way of making you believe you're staying in the same place, but in reality, you're moving backward. The world keeps changing. New skills become necessary. The competition keeps improving. And if you're standing still, you're falling behind. It's easy to look at successful people and think they have something you don't. That they were born with more talent, more intelligence, more luck. But if you look closer, you'll see one simple difference. They were willing to step into discomfort. They were willing to struggle. They were willing to look foolish at first, to fail, to keep going even when they didn't feel ready. Most people will never push themselves far enough to see what they're truly capable of. They stay where it's comfortable. They repeat the same habits, the same routines, the same patterns, expecting life to change. But change doesn't happen inside your comfort zone. Growth doesn't happen where it's safe. It happens when you're willing to step into the unknown, to take the risk, and to do what most people want. Success isn't built in a day. It's not about one big moment, one lucky break, or one massive effort. It's built in the small, consistent actions you take every single day. The problem is, most people overlook the power of small disciplines. They think success requires a dramatic change, so they wait for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, or the perfect motivation. But success doesn't work like that. It's not about doing something once. It's about doing it consistently. Every great achievement, every big success story, every transformation, whether in business, health, finances, or personal growth, can be traced back to small daily habits. The person who was in incredible shape didn't get there overnight. They made the choice to exercise consistently, to eat the right foods, to stay disciplined even when it was inconvenient. The entrepreneur who built a thriving business didn't do it in one day. They showed up every day, took small steps, stayed committed when no one else believed in them. The problem is, most people don't see results fast enough, so they quit. They go to the gym for a week, and when they don't see a six-pack, they stop. They start a new business, and when they don't make money immediately, they give up. They try reading a book, learning a skill, improving their mindset, but because the results aren't instant, they assume it's not working. But here's the reality. Consistency is the secret weapon of success. Think of a drop of water hitting a rock. One drop does nothing. 10 drops do nothing. But over time, that water starts to wear the rock down, not because of one powerful splash, but because of consistent, repeated effort. That's how success works. It's not about doing something once with massive energy. It's about doing the right things consistently over time. This is why discipline is more important than motivation. Motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes. Some days you'll feel like putting in the work, and some days you won't. But discipline doesn't care about how you feel. Discipline says, do it anyway. And when you do, day after day, the results start compounding. The biggest mistake people make is underestimating the power of small actions. They think success requires huge, dramatic effort. But what really matters is what you do daily. Not occasionally, not when you feel like it, but daily. Take finances as an example. If someone saves a small amount of money every single day, it doesn't seem like much at first. But over time, with consistency and compound interest, that small habit turns into something significant. The same applies to learning a skill. Reading 10 pages a day doesn't seem like much, but in a year, that's 3,650 pages, dozens of books, filled with new knowledge and ideas. Writing a few hundred words a day might not seem like progress, but in a year, that's an entire book. But here's what happens. Most people get impatient. They want fast results. They want to see big changes immediately. And when they don't, they quit. But success doesn't work that way. It's not an event, it's a process. And that process is built on small, daily disciplines. It's also important to realize that small daily habits work both ways. Just as small positive actions compound into success, small negative actions compound into failure. Skipping one workout doesn't seem like a big deal, but when that one day turns into a week, then a month, then a year, the result is a body that's out of shape. Spending a little too much money here and there doesn't seem like much, but over time, it leads to financial struggle. Watching TV instead of working on your goals feels harmless in the moment, but over time, it leads to wasted years. Every day, you're making small choices, and those choices are either moving you closer to your goals or further away from them. There's no standing still. You're either improving or declining. The question is, are your daily habits building the life you want, or are they keeping you stuck? Most people don't fail because of one big mistake. They fail because of small daily choices that slowly move them in the wrong direction. They don't realize it's happening until one day they look up and wonder how they got so far off track. But just as small habits can lead to failure, they can also lead to massive success. The key is to commit, to focus on the daily process, not just the outcome. To trust that the small disciplines you practice today will create the results you want tomorrow. Because in the end, success isn't about what you do once in a while. It's about what you do every single day. Your life is not determined by luck, circumstances, or fate. It is determined by the choices you make every single day. Every decision, big or small, creates a ripple effect that shapes your future. The problem is, most people don't take their daily choices seriously. They assume that one decision doesn't matter, that skipping one workout, procrastinating for one more day, or spending money carelessly just this once won't make a difference. But success and failure are never the result of one big event. They are the result of small, repeated choices made over time. Think of your life like a road trip. Every decision you make is like turning the steering wheel in a certain direction. Some choices move you closer to your destination, and some take you further away. The challenge is, most people don't realize they're heading in the wrong direction until they've been driving for years. Then one day they wake up and wonder, how did I get here? But they got there the same way everyone does. One small decision at a time. The problem with comfort is that it tricks you into thinking you can delay the important choices. It makes you believe you have time, that you can start next week, that you can wait for the perfect moment. But here's the truth, there is no perfect moment. There is no someday. There is only today, and the choices you make today determine where you end up tomorrow. Look at the most successful people in the world. What sets them apart? It's not luck. It's not that they were born with something special. It's that they made different choices consistently. They chose discipline over comfort. They chose growth over ease. They chose action over excuses. And because they made those choices every single day, their future changed. On the other hand, look at the people who feel stuck. The ones who feel like life has passed them by. The ones who look back with regret. What happened? Most of them didn't make one huge mistake. They just made small, comfortable choices that slowly led them away from the life they once wanted. And here's the truth. Your life will reflect the choices you make, whether you realize it or not. If you make choices that prioritize comfort, you'll live a life of mediocrity. If you make choices that prioritize discipline, growth, and action, you'll create a life of success and fulfillment. But here's the challenge. Most of the important choices in life don't come with immediate rewards.